it has been something that I've been working on for a while now with my own family, and we my mother, yeah, I'm hearing feedback. Thank you so much. This is going to be interesting. So I have a PowerPoint, and I know our live audience here cannot see the PowerPoint, so you could probably watch it later on. And I'm going to share that PowerPoint with these guys just for a second here. And we have actually my shkabewas, there's two of them here, and one of them actually offered me sema to do this work, and the other one here is smudging everyone. So we're starting this session in a good way, and that's really important for us as we, transfer that knowledge. And I see some familiar faces here, and I'm going to see if I can get this PowerPoint going. So Roy, are you there?
I'm here.
Can you see my screen?
I can. It's
okay,
good.
Can you see the next page?
Yep.
Okay, so we are in the 10th moon of creation. It's coming up. We are now Nibin has been doing her work. Nibin is the spirit of summer, and she is she's completed that work for us, and it's kind of emotional for me because well, it's getting chillier. It's not actually here, but it's now. I can feel it in the air. The air is starting to get crisp, and we have Daawigin coming in, the spirit of Daawigin, which is fall, and fall is she is doing her work starting tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day, and that is my session talks about this the movement of creation. There's a movement that happens, and that word that the word of the good life, I'm going to talk about that, the good life and what that is. A picture here is there's a picture of my mother in front of the residential school that she went to, and this is Blue Quills residential school, and so she's sitting on the steps there, and so again, it's that time when they took our children. They took the children away at that time, and she she's been going through a lot, and she created a school because of that. The school, actually, the curriculum runs on this beautiful 13 moon cycle, because she said, no, I'm not going to do this to my children. I'm not going to do this to my grandchildren. I'm going to learn and move forward with this, with what she went through there. Her whole family went there. Her brothers and sisters, her mother. She broke that cycle though, and so I just want to say I honor her in that way. I honor her, and so other nations call this this moon that we're coming into, the falling leaves moon, the moose rut moon, ground freezing moon, migrating moon, the beaver moon, ice moon, and the bird moon. So there's a story there. Each territory has a beautiful story, and so I'm so fascinated by our stories, how we saw what was around us, and how we see it now. A little bit about myself. I am a mother of two, a daughter and a son, and I am a Cree, a Nihio, Anishinaabe Kwe. My clan is Bijou, which is lynx, and I am a certified herbologist who I've been working with medicine all my life, working with plant medicine, but I actually took the jump and went into officially receiving my papers. And, you know, that's her, my daughter, she's going into, she's already in that, but that's that lineage, that beautiful lineage. And that's called a water line in our teachings. Myself, my mother, and my daughter, we create a water line for women. It's the women's teachings. And so the and my PowerPoint there's a picture of a cat. And our cat, her name is Mochi. Mochis are my grandchild now. And so I had to honor her too. But the PowerPoint also has a picture of the Mashoma book. And I know one of your elder here, Clayton Shirt, he really promotes that book here. And it's a storybook that was created in the 1980s. And it has all these incredible teachings in it's a children's book. But if you read that book, there's some incredible teachings and everything from the language to our creation stories. And so I encourage you to pick that book up during the winter time. You know, it's a great. I keep reading it and I keep getting something more. You know, and that's how our teachings are. Eh? And so there's a picture of my parents in this. My mother, Pauline Shirt, and my father, Vern Harper Ba. They're the ones that instilled so much of. I mean, when you talk about the good life, they shuffled around in the 1970s looking for that good life. Eh? There wasn't a lot out there about our teachings, and so they went searching. You know, we can Google everything, but they actually had to go thousands and thousands of miles across Turtle Island, up and down, looking for those teachings, looking for those teachers. Eh? And so I think that's where my love of travel comes from. I was gonna say we flew in. We didn't fly. We actually drove down from Aurelia. We live up in Aurelia, and that it's a little slower there. And we have a beautiful garden, and our garden is the place where we do a lot of, well, our ceremonies happen there. We have fires and we have sacred spaces, and we have different trees there and different plants that we do certain ceremonies throughout the year. And so I'm going to share some a little bit about what I know, just a little bit. So Miyo Pimatisiwin or Mino Bmaadiziwin, Cree and Ojibwe. There's two different ways of saying that, and that's the good life. The good life. We've heard of this. You know, you see this a lot written everywhere about what you know. So what is that good life? Wow. You know, I want some of that. You know, and so we see the good life. We see it in different teachings. From what I know, what the good life is part of that seven grandfather teaching. The 7 stages of life, I should say, the 7 stages of life. And so we see that teaching in a braid of sweetgrass. I was going to bring my braid. Braid of sweetgrass, there's a teaching of that 7 stages of life. And it shows how we grow from before we were born and all the challenges that that happen. That good life is the beginning of life. And then we have another example of that is in the feather, eagle feather. There's the good life is shown here, eh? And I was, there's 7 stages of life. And now if I can just remember them, the good life, the fast life, the wandering life, the truth life, the planting life, is it the knowledge? Oh shoot, I can't remember. And then there's the elder's life. But we have different stages that we go through in life, and that good life is in that beginning stage. And I understand that good life, as a parent, one of my elders said, the only responsibility a parent has for their child is to love their child. You can't spoil a baby, and so, because there's all these books telling us, oh, don't pick them up too much, don't do this, don't do that, but our responsibility as a parent for that first 7 stages of life is to love your child. And in that story of the 7th grandfather teaching, that little boy, that there's a part of that story where he is shown the universe and creation for the first 7 years of his life, and then he is able to receive that medicine. It's in the Mishona's book, but so he was able to. They showed him that everything. Who are you related to? And it's not just here on Earth; it's creation. And so he had that first 7 years is very, very important for us. The other place you can see the 7 stages of life and Mino Bmaadiziwin is in our sand scrolls, our teaching scrolls. So we have scrolls that we have birch bark scrolls and sand scrolls, and we have those. They talk about that, And the first time I saw that was when, oh, there you go, yeah, Mishona's book. So we have 1980s when the elders conferences were taking off. I don't know if John remembers that. All the elder conferences were in their heyday. Hundreds and hundreds of people would come through to the Native centers, Trent University, and so our teachers, my teachers, they were learning about that 7 stages of life, and they actually would write it out on. I remember that, and it's talked about in here, but that's the first time that I saw that tool out in the open, other than in ceremony. They would write it out and talk about each of those stages of life and what we should be looking at, and what we can gauge yourself with that. There is the medicine wheel, the 4 directions medicine wheel. There's 7 stages of life there. You can see that. You can Google that one too, and you'll see it. And so the other ways we gauge those stages, there is star teachings. There's star teachings where we have we see the movement of a certain star, and very sacred stars, they move 7 times, and we can watch that. There's teachers that talk about that. They look at those stars and they gauge where you're at. We also have 7 helpers throughout our life, and those helpers are in the spirit world, and those helpers are physical. So they say we have 7 helpers throughout our life, and so we get to know them. We build that relationship with them. So that's it could be my helper. I know one of my helpers is my clan. I have my clan, it's Lynx, it's Bijou. And so, other, you may have spirit helpers, or you may just have, an amazing auntie or uncle that's, one of your helpers, eh? So Mino Bmaadiziwin, the Cree way of looking at that is an elevated life. It's an elevated. So what does that mean, elevated? To me, that's your mind, your body, mind, emotion, and spirit. I go through that because that's what we are. Eh? We have our body, our mind, our emotions, and our spirit. And there's when we can see, when we can work on elevating those 4 elements of ourselves, we get to who we are. We get to those teachings, and so we use our medicines. We use our medicines to help us elevate ourselves. There is also, so the encompassing the Mino Bmaadiziwin is our traditional languages. That's our original way of communicating with everything. Eh? So just there's a list here of what we can see as Mino Bmaadiziwin, and that we have our traditional languages, the ones that are spoken here on Turtle Island. We had that ability. There's so much that we had, but with time and with influences, we have lost some communication, direct communication. At one time, we were able to just, read each other's minds and talk to our relatives, the eagles, the fish, or, we had that connection. It's the same thing with medicine, eh? We have, our medicines are not as potent as they used to be, eh? So we have to work harder. We have to work harder to attain things. There are certain things that we do only on the land. We don't, and my teachers will say, there's certain ceremonies that you can only do out of the city. There's so much energy here and so much, ooh. So we do that out in the land, and we're connected. There's a connection. It's a little better for them, eh? And traditional teachers can feel that, eh? They're like, I need to go home now. I need to go up north, or I'm okay. But there's also our way of being, which is the relationship to creation, our values, and our behaviors. So that is our way of being, is who we are, and that stems to that knowing our stories, knowing that link, eh? And our way of thinking is our thought process, and our perceiving, our belief systems, and our worldview. All that is our thinking. And so as Anishinaabe people, we have a different way of looking at life, right? And they've tried to pigeonhole us in certain ways. They're like, oh, they're little, myself being in school, they put me in this special ed class because of my way of thinking. And I used to think there was something wrong with me, eh? No, we're all, we all have a different way. We all have gifts. And so Anishinaabe people, our gift is vision, eh? Our visioning process. And there's all these amazing stories and teachings about how we see the whole, eh? And we can see the end result. So we know we need to get to that end result of something, eh? So that's our way of processing. That's part of that Mino Bmaadiziwin. Our way of knowing. So this is Takwakin-Daawigin-Fall, and Ajode Takwakin-Daawigin-Fall, knowing who you are. So, like I said, I'm Lynx clan. I know my territory. I know my family, my lineage. my origin stories, and so like my parents, they were searching for those ways, and they got it. Sometimes they didn't get they found things, but they were fragmented teachings. I mean, or stories, family, and so they did a lot of work for my family. So I know my lineage. I know where I come from. I can, share that with my children. They know they have their clan and their spirit names. And that's the other part of knowing who we are, is that spirit name. The next one is our way of doing life skills through original way of doing things, our actions. That's our actions. We're learning, and that's what I'm going to go through the seasons with you, and those are life skills. There's certain life skills in there that we can learn from different relatives. Our way of relating to spirit. So this is one that again, that visioning process is that the spiritual connection to life, the spiritual, I have this eagle feather. This eagle feather is, I don't know, 30 years old, 35 years old. And there's a spiritual connection to this one. She's been all over, everywhere I go, she goes, and so many people have held her and expressed a connection, some form or another. And so I honor her that way. That's that connection, that interconnection. And we're sitting in a circle here too. There's a hoop of life here. And, no one is greater or smaller. We have, that's our teachings, that's our way of seeing how we are interconnected. So our connection, our roles and responsibilities, how are we walking on Mother Earth? How are we walking on Mother Earth? And so this is my, I'm going to give you some little tools, I guess. Our walking on Mother Earth. Again, I said the mind, the body, the mind, emotion, and spirit. That's at the 4-direction hoop. There's, again, you can Google that too, and you can see the makeup of a human being. In Anishinaabe teachings, that is our, we have certain tools that we use to help us with connecting those 4 elements of a human being. And we have the 4 medicines. So we have Sema, Wingush, Mushkodegwash, and Gijik. Those are the four sacred medicines that we use to help us with connecting those 4 elements. And I have another circle here. It's a blue. Blue is blue instead of black. I'm doing Korean Ojibwe here. If you can see, I'm learning more Cree words because I know a lot more Ojibwe, and they work well together. So, but in the Cree, if you see Cree hoops, you can see in the black section there's a blue, and it's something to do with the color black. And I think that's something to do with, I'm just going to say it, Christianity. I think our people at one time, they think, oh, black is negative. But my teachings and understanding is that the black is the unknown. And we're not to be afraid of that. That's a balance in life, So I'm not going to go there, but that's the title of this talk is walking with the good life through the seasons. So that word walking, but most say, is that running? How do you say walking? Oh yeah, yeah. Come on, John. No. So walking we have, we live in a system and a society where we're running. I was here in Toronto last night at an event, and all of a sudden I started talking really fast. I was like, okay, wait a minute, I have to just calm down here, you know, and that's what this society does to us, eh? Oh, just, we need to just settle down. I think somebody just put in the chat here. Oh, okay. Oh, that's Roy. So the what comes to mind is that saying, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. How do you say his name? Leo. Okay, it's an Asian master from centuries and centuries and centuries ago. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. That's what happens when we look at our 13 moon cycle. Everything is accomplished through that system. Eh? There's a beautiful system, and it's older than this calendars that we use. It's longer. There's it's spread out, and there's a system within systems with that 13 moon cycle. And so we go into the fall equinox tomorrow. Very sacred time for us, eh? That's when our grandfather, he's starting to move away from us slowly. And there's teachings about where'd he go? Where's he going? You know, but he's in our understanding, he's going to visit. He needs to do some work with his other relatives. So we say Bamapi to him tomorrow. He's leaving little by little. And so living in Aurelia, working with medicine, and in our gitiganing in our garden, we have been working on our own, growing our medicines and seeing the cycles happening. Now I have little examples here of the different the six I'm going to take you through the seasons with 6 of our helpers and our relatives. The bears, the flowers, the trees, the birds, the fish, and our first medicine, Sema. Now, we don't have bears in our garden, but that is one of our main helpers, eh? And you can see that what they do for us in, well, it's incredible who they are to us. And so I'm going to make sure I can get this correct here. I don't usually use notes. So the first one is the bear. And the bear is the one that in the spring. So I'm looking at the medicine wheel. Where is this now? Springtime is this one here, the yellow. And we're going to go from here and go around all the way to the winter. And I know, so when I said the good life, each of these of our relatives is part of that good life teaching. They're the ones who, you know, if we look at them and we notice what they're doing, we can see that teaching that they're giving us, eh? And so in springtime, that's Manokme, or Mino Skamin. That's Cree. Manokme is Ojibwe. There's another way to say that is Ziguan. And Manokme means soft earth. That's the softness of the earth. And so that's the springtime. And so I'm going to go through all these 6 relatives for you. And the first one is the bear. And the bear is the one who, in the springtime, she searches for that medicine. Makwa means, it means moving of the earth. And so what she's doing is she's moving the earth around, and she's the one we can look at, and she shows us those medicines. She shows us certain herbs and roots. That's where bear root comes from. She, we saw that she was eating that, eh? And we know that she's very closely related to human beings, and different nations actually say how she is human. There's stories about how she's a human, and I don't know if you saw different TikToks or whatever, how you can see some of these bears walking. They're walking like us, eh? And sitting at tables and everything, and so we're very closely related to them, eh? And so at this time in the springtime, she's looking for that medicine, and we watch, not too closely, but we watch, eh? And so she's that great healer. The maple tree is the budding. When the maple tree is budding, it is the time when we do our pipe dances and our spring renewals. So we do that, and it is that maple tree that we honor. That maple tree is the one that we call the tree of life. And I'll get to what she does for us at the end of winter, when I get to winter. But so she's that one we honor, and she awakens all that medicine, and she helps awaken that medicine, and on a spiritual level. So the fish, and I'm speaking of more about the sucker fish here in Ontario. That one there, in the early spring, she is laying her eggs, and she's moving the earth underneath the water. So she's helping to revive that water for us. She's helping to clean the water. That's what she does. And so then she has that, there's that physical part, but there's also that spiritual part. Eh? Water is life. Water, she gives that medicine to that water. The next one is echinacea, and that is purple coneflower. So we have the purple coneflower in our garden, and during the springtime, her roots are so strong. The first year of a purple echinacea, you will only see the roots. I mean, you only see the leaves, and you won't see the flower yet. It takes a couple of years for it to actually develop her flowers. But during the springtime, her roots, she digs in her roots really strong, eh? And so there's we were like, oh, where's the flowers, so there's a time and a place for that. And so this year she gave us incredible flowers. But so that we talk about the root, and I talked about Makwa, how they look for their roots. The underneath the water, there's that, everything's underneath still. It's still, that soft earth. And so then we have Opachi, is the robin. Robin? Yeah, that's it. Robin is that beautiful mother who she teaches us so much about protection and guarding, and making sure that everything is she when you're driving, they come right in front of your car, and they're still, again, low to the ground. Everything's still low to the ground. And so then Sema, Sema is tobacco. And if you've seen those seeds, and I should have brought some, do you have any? Seeds, I have tons of those seeds. But those seeds are they're like little, they look like little dust, little black dust. That's how tiny they are. And so everything is small and developing. And so we would speak to our seeds during this time too. We would actually have seed ceremony, and we would actually have again, like that renewal ceremony. That is this is the time that we do that, work with that medicine of renewal and getting them, we were getting them ready in winter, but now it's time we're planting, so we plant them. So Nipin or Nibin is Cree, and Nibin is Ojibwe, and that's summer. So summer, it's the last day of summer right now. And she's done her work. She's done a lot of work for us. And so in my garden, again, the garden was flourishing. We have little garden boxes. And so we have our sema, our sage, early everlasting, echinacea, our vegetables and things. But during the summer and the spring, we are actually giving thanks, always giving thanks, and to our relatives, and so they flourish and grow. Our echinacea was really high. The birds. So I want to talk about those birds again. So Opachi is that protector in spring. The birds do a lot for us. In our creation stories, they move the seeds. They move. There's in our stories, they have that. In our creation story, they move those seed thoughts. Well, they actually move the physical seeds in this time, and so they help creation grow. There's things that grow in my garden. I'm like, oh, where did that come from? It's the birds. The birds are bringing seeds. They're doing a lot of work for us. So then the sema, we sing to our sema, and our fish, the fish are providing food for us now. And the maple trees are providing a lot. Not only are they providing food for us during this time too, with their seeds, we can eat those seeds, We take the seeds and we can grind them up and make a flour out of them, And we can build our lodges with those seeds, with the wood. It'll be a little, very small lodge with the seeds of a maple tree. So that is summer. And so Daawigin is tomorrow. Our Daawigin is Cree, and Daawigin is, I think I spelled it wrong in this here too. It's a nice PowerPoint, but so again, at this time, our bear relatives, our Makwa, are going to be looking for their den now, and they're showing us something about what we should be doing now. We're getting ready for our own fast. We fast during this time of the fall time, We get ready for that, and they're incredible. The bears will actually disappear. You'll wonder where's their den. You can't. They built them in the most incredible places. Whether it's a cave, whether it's digging right into the earth, whether it's a big tree, a fallen tree, they'll dig right in there. So this is their process of getting ready, for that time. Everything's changing again. Our Sema, we do a harvest ceremony. Actually, we do a harvest ceremony for all our medicines during this time. And we did that recently. We cut down our echinacea and we processed it in 3 different ways. And I'm making 2 different tinctures with that and some teas. But we have our sema hanging in our shed, and they're like dinosaur leaves right now. They're big. I've never seen them this big before, And so, but you have to process them and do all that outside, because that nicotine is really strong. And so harvesting is we're busy, busy, busy. And we're harvesting of the fish now because they're spawning. Again, they're spawning, so we're collecting, them. It's a big harvest session. But so the other part of this is that there's a spirit called the spirit painter, and you might see that spirit painter out here right now. Little bits and pieces are happening. Those trees are changing colors, and we see. One morning you'll see, oh, it's green there. Next, evening, it's like, oh, it's changed colors, right? That spirit painter comes out, and that one there is doing their work to help our Mother the Earth celebrate life. We're celebrating now. We're in that process of giving thanks for all the harvest. We're harvesting and we're giving thanks for everything that Nibin has given to us in the summertime. So they say that Mother Earth puts on her dancing shawl and her beautiful multicolored skirt, and she's doing her last dance of the season. And then that's what she's showing us, that gratitude for this good life. It's literally the good life that she's given us. And then the birds are doing their work too. They're getting ready to migrate, and they have a system. Like I said, nothing happens overnight, maybe except for the spirit painter. But everything happens. There's a system and a way for life to move. So not all the birds just leave all at once. They have certain, the younger ones will go, the younger ones of certain birds will go first. They'll migrate, and they're watching the seasons too. So we have a little bit of a cold snap coming up. A lot of these birds are going to be, they're going to be leaving. And that, it's kind of sad because we build that relationship with them. So Biboon or Biboon is winter, the spirit of winter. And there's many beautiful stories about Biboon, and that's that northern direction, Gawaden known, that season, that everlasting winter, And so we have, like I said, Makwa, the bear. She goes into hibernation during this time, but on a spiritual level, she's doing something for us. She's that helper for that for this season, and she's the great healer. So spiritually, she's it can be hard. Winter can be a hard time for us, and things are getting, it's darker out, and our balance is, it can be off a little with not getting enough sunlight and things like that. That's why we use our medicines. But that Makwa, she's the great healer, and they say that she's one that there's nothing she cannot heal. So you remember that. Remember, she's that one that we call upon during this time. So echinacea, I'm going with echinacea still here. Echinacea is a beautiful plant that, so we harvest it, but we leave some of it behind, because what does it do? It feeds those birds, our relatives, in the winter time. So we leave that there at the stems, and they pick the seeds. And then during that winter time, those sucker fish are underneath the ice, and they are again doing their work for us on a spiritual level. They are going up to that spirit realm and then bringing the medicine down, but they're also cleaning that water still. Like, they're doing a lot of work for us, all of creation. We are getting ready to harvest our sap, our water. That's that maple water. And so during the winter, everything shifts back and forth, the ebb and flow of hot and cold, and that helps that syrup move. If you ever get to do maple water tapping, do that. It's incredible. It's a lot. It's healing for families. They bring in, you know, everyone has a responsibility during that time, eh? So it is a lot of work, but man, there's that maple syrups. When you make it yourself, it's like, holy smokes! Don't spill that. And so we are planting. Our seeds are being planted inside, and we are, you know, like I said, we have our seeds that are we collected during the fall time, and now we are speaking to those seeds. Yeah, we're actually putting them in little containers and things in our house during the winter. But the grandmothers are also talking to our helpers during this time. In the dead of winter, what they're doing is they're actually singing those songs to our relatives in our gardens. They're talking to them and saying, you know, I can't wait to see you again. I can't wait to see what you're going to bring us, you know, and I'm preparing things for you. You know, I'm already envisioning the garden, how it's going to look, you know. And so I just want to leave with the last one is those birds. And like I said, winter can be a little harsh for us, but when you hear those chickadees, I mean, that, you know, in the coldest, you know, minus 35, they're out there and they're singing away, you know, and they uplift us, they uplift our spirits. Eh? So, you know, each of these has an incredible way to work this good life for us. Eh? And in Cree, that's Wakutawin, and that's that interconnectedness, so I just took you on a journey with our relatives and moving through those seasons, eh? And in Dwe Maganaduk, we are all related. We are all related, eh? We say that in Dwe Maganaduk. Actually, I think that's in that Mishoma's book there too. And so it's reflection. It's a reflection. We can see it if we just take our time, breathe, and watch those birds, watch what's happening, use our medicines, eh? And I'm going to stop sharing here. And I want to say, oh, yeah, Miigwech, if you guys, do you have any questions? Anyone have any questions, or you want to share something about your experiences during the seasons and or what you know of the good life, eh? Mino Bmaadiziwin. The floor is open for anyone online too. Yeah, so I guess that's the oh, wait a minute. Sema is still growing. Is it okay to wait to harvest it? Absolutely. You can actually harvest the bottom parts of your sema. You can actually take some the bigger leaves and hang them up. Oh, Miigwech Lynn, hi, nice to see you. Yeah, so you can take your sema and harvest those bigger ones, and they'll, you know, it'll keep growing, and then they might even bolt. They bolt. The flowers come up after with that day. So you can get seeds from that. And if anyone has blue flowered sema, let me know. It's hard to get. I'm looking at you guys, Michael. Yeah. And that's that, that seed trading medicines. That's what we need to do, right? And I should have brought my seeds with me next time. I have lots. So miigwech, Bama P, and thank you so much for the live audience here. If you guys want to say anything or my helpers. Okay. Miigwech,
Luana, Luana,
Aha.
there's one more question in the chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, yeah, no, you don't have to freeze them. I've heard people do that actually, but we don't freeze them. We put them in paper bags, and we make sure we date everything though, because certain seeds have a certain lifespan. And but yeah, I've heard people put them in the freezer, but you don't have to do that. Miigwech, Roy.
Miigwech, Luana. Does anybody else have any other questions before we close?
I think Michael does here.
Growing my medicine is definitely something I want to do, but I'm afraid to because I don't want to, really promise these seeds and these medicines a good life, really, and that I take care of them well without knowing and then harming them and not harvesting them in the right way. And I don't know where to go and find those teachings that are specific to like harvest teaching or something like that. Like, what would you recommend that I do?
So interesting enough, I have a friend of mine. We have in this day of technology, we have a she started up a SEMA group online, and it's everyone comes together on Zoom, and we talk about that. We talk about, there are people growing SEMA on their little tiny balconies in Toronto. And they're like, oh my God, help me, and so we're there supporting each other, right? That's just one thing, but also, giving your sema to somebody to say, can I be your shkabewis? Can I be with you? I mean, shkabewis can be, it's all nice and it can be glorified in some ways, but there's a lot to it because, you're the driver, you're the hauler, you're the, the one who does all this, but you're there tailing that person, eh? And that's incredible. That's the best times of my life as being a shkabewis. Do you have, okay, closing, doing a closing? Sure. I'm going to do a closing. Oh gosh. Oh yeah, I will. I'll send you that information, Lynn, about the SEMA circle. So in the spirit of giving thanks to Nibin for all her work, all the work she's done for us, I'm going to just say Chimigwich Gimijiang to her. She has, that's her role. She has that mothering quality about her. She teaches, she's sitting there teaching you how to grow things, right? And how to take care of yourself. So I'm going to just sing two verses of a song thanking her. Amigwich Gije Menedo, Amigwich Gije Menedo, Amigwich Gije Menedo, Amigwich Gije Menedo. way higher, hey yo, ho, ho. Way higher, oh, way higher, hey, ho, ho. Way higher, hey yo, ho, ho. Way higher, oh, way higher, oh, oh. Amigwich, no Miss Manado. Amigwich, Miss Manado. Amigwich, no Miss Manado. Amigwich, no Miss Manado. Ho, 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 Miigwich. Ni kind of Miigwich for having me. And Mama P, Miigwich Roy.
Miigwech Luana for that wonderful teaching. And thank you everyone for joining us in person and on Zoom. And just a reminder that this webinar will be on our the NEIHR website for future viewing. It's in the chat right now, the link. So once again, miigwech, and have a good day.
Mama P.
Pamapi.